Ni wern narik dien, wadarang aktanuk, makbarian wadarang bagaruk, manamaith mirabea, nailinga wadarang bake, karingarabu bunja the ego, wa the crow, Kimbani ba Deanne Gilson. Welcome to Wadarang Country.
Live from Wadarang Country, welcome to Lance TV. Coming to you from the palatial new Camp Street Studios in Ballarat, get ready to laugh, think, love and sparkle. And now, it's time to turn that camp dial all the way up to fabulous. Here's your host, the multi-award winning Lance-tastic, Lance DeBoyle.
And that's right, you're watching Let's TV. I'm Lance DeBoyle, and we're coming to you live from Wadarang Country here in Ballarat, the resting place of Bunjil the Eagle. Charge up your sofa and pull up your nearest comfortable drink and let's sit down together and catch up. It's been a hot fortnight. Our wonderful Dr. Sophie was visiting their partner overseas last weekend, and thusly we did not have somebody to tinkle on the buttons and change the cameras around and talk to Channel 31 while we're live. But she is back with force. Give us a quick sort of run on the cameras, Dr. Sophie, so people know you're back. There you go. And we had wonderful tales this afternoon when Dr. Sophie came into the studio, and we must have pulled aside a good 45 minutes listening to the wonderful tales of what life is like in sections of Ohio. We were riveted, but not for the right reasons. But it was still interesting. And hello to Alison if you're watching. Big love from us to you. Talking about big love, our very special guest tonight is waiting just off the stage and half a mile away, no. But they are here tonight and we're very thrilled to have them on board. So please be upstanding, charge your glasses, and please welcome the one, the only, Councillor Desmond Hudson OAM. And for those of you who want to know what OAM stands for, a man! Darling, how are you?
I'm fabulous.
Please,
thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you for being opportuned.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sit like you now. No.
It's just great. I just feel already at home, sitting here on the sofa and just looking forward to a really nice chat for the next.
Yeah, you'll be eating those words in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We know you best in Ballarat as Councillor Des Hudson, one of the wonderful councillors here at the City of Ballarat, but we also know you in a role with the local police force. Tell us a little bit about both of those things.
Yeah, look, I've had a fortunate career in both areas, I guess. I've coming up 35 years with Victoria Police, majority of that time right here in Ballarat. And 22 years completed with the City of Ballarat, with another 4 years just been re-elected, so it'll be 26 years at the end of that period. Really fortunate to have served 3 terms as Mayor and 2 as Deputy Mayor. So that community involvement, I think, has ran through my veins at wanting to hopefully be an advocate for all areas of our local community. I think being a police person, you're called to serve, and you just find other ways that you can do that as well.
You're insatiable with service to others, aren't you? Insatiable!
It's one of those things that I think if I look back to my family history, Mum and Dad were always big into committees, big on helping community, whether it be through school committees, whether it be through church, whether it be through St Vincent de Paul, helping out in other things. So I kind of took a lead from both Mum and Dad that were involved in community as well.
I think you just went back and sort of like not only double dipped, but triple dipped.
There's been a few bits along the way, but look, I absolutely love the opportunity. The people that you meet, the stories that you hear, if you're willing to listen more to people than necessarily doing all of the talking yourself, you meet some wonderful people and their journeys that give you a little bit of insight into other people as well.
Amazing. We're going to go on a little journey now with our first segment. It's a pre-recorded segment put together by our very own Dr. Sophie. The segment is called Lens TV Artist Corner. And tonight we're going down to Naarm to the Sticky Institute. See you when you get back.
So this is the new Sticky Institute. This is at 510 Elizabeth Street. So we opened here last week. It's the third time we've moved in 3 years. So we had a really constant first 20 years of Sticky Institute. We were located in Campbell Arcade and we were there for 20 years. And then because of the Metro Tunnel redevelopments, we needed to go somewhere else. So we went into the Nicholas building for 2 years. We've been over in the park behind the Shrine of Remembrance for 6 months. And then we opened this space last week, which is incredible. So we've got the zine shelves have gone up next door. We've got a whole stack of zines on the shelf. We've got a brand new photocopier. All the badge making facilities has moved here. And this is the third day this week I've been here, and it's just been really busy, which is really nice after being in the park, which was a little bit of an obscure location. But when you stand here in Sticky and look out the window, there is literally people wandering by all day. And they've just been kind of drifting in, having a look at some zines. And it's a really good introduction coming into the shop. If you don't know what a zine is, it's just like, hey look, here's a few hundred contemporary examples of what zines might be. And then you can kind of show people, various printing techniques that have been used to make the zines. You got black and white photocopying, you got colour photocopying, we've got risographed zines. There's people who have a liner cut on the cover. There's all kinds of handmade aspects of zines. So you can kind of show them, look, this is what this person has done, this is what this person has done. And everyone who makes zines, they approach it in such a different way. A lot of the comics makers, they'll want to print from their laptop to get the highest quality, print quality they can get. So everything's digitally laid out and we'll put it through the machine and it's all printed. The new photocopy we've got here, you can print from memory stick, so you just plug it in, away you go. And then there's other people who love, handwriting things, working with the typewriter, gluing it down with a glue stick. Everyone does it differently. There's no right and wrong way, but there is some ways which are going to be 1,000 times more time consuming than others. So we can show people how they go. I'm always interested just in how the zines get made. This is a zine from America called Kabloom. This is a letterpressed zine. It's a really beautiful letterpress cover and letterpressed inside. So each individual letter is put down, inked up. Beautiful. Got a lot of glom press here at the minute. So all these glom press zines are risographed zines. So risograph is kind of a cross between photocopying and screen printing. So you put each piece of paper through the machine multiple times. It does one colour at a time. And then you get this beautiful kind of textured finish. Do a back issue of Maximum Rock and Roll here. Newsprint, making paper versions of the zine. Here we do have offset printed stuff, like this is Broken Pencil. This is the magazine of zine culture and the independent art. So this is from Canada. So it's a magazine about zines. They do lots of zine reviews. So you can kind of find out about a whole stack of stuff from all around the world. And then they do articles as well on various zine makers. But it's full colour. It's beautiful. Yeah, so in here, this is where we're going to do the workshop. There's a light, there is lights in here, and I can't find the light switch. So the last kind of 3.5 years we've been doing workshops over at Sticky when it was in the park. So we do a range of kind of introduction to zine making. There was some really popular kind of more crafternoon kind of workshops which took place, which was just real nice. Drop in, make some zines, people do collage. There's a group of kind of really young zine makers who were doing what they call zine making parties. So we get kind of people in who've got a skill, who make a zine in a particular way, show them how they do it, and then people can take it kind of wherever they want from there. I've been doing a real range with a whole stack of primary school kids, and if I bring in a typewriter to the workshop, it just causes a sensation. Typewriters, who knew? Primary school kids and typewriters. Really excited. They were all gathering around the typewriter, had to kind of figure out a system to figure out who was going to go next on the typewriter. So they were really successful, which is really good. And it's nice to be nice and central now, so if people want to come to workshops, it's just right in the middle of the city.
Hello, Facebook. That was amazing. Dr. Sophie put all of that together, and just before we came back, Dr. Sophie has kind of ballparked that this year that she has made at least 35 episodes of Lens TV's Artist Corner. And in those 35 episodes, does that include this one? And it's only this one that we heard the whole of the theme. That was pointed out, and Sophie was like, oh, it's the first time we actually got to the end of the track. I'm just going to check the thread. If you're watching on Facebook and you would like to share anything with the lovely Councillor Hudson OAM, feel free to drop it in the thread. And but right now, Marty Monster, love your Lance, baby. I love you too, Marty. You're singing in Melbourne tomorrow, is that right? You're singing with, as part of Mayhem with Stella Savvy and Deb Lauer. And then here on the 1st of December at the Good Shed. Marty's part of that choir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Deb Lower, what a great person.
Ah.
I love listening to Deb when she might be on Brett Mack's show on 3BO, and I've often said to Deb, times if I happen to be driving around and I hear you on, I can just pull over and just listen. That she just has a great way of storytelling, and when she's interviewed, that she's
Absolutely.
a great person. Yeah.
Absolutely. She sang at the resurgence, so I can't remember what the tag was for Her Majesty's with the reopening, but she sang Aretha Franklin's Natural Woman.
Okay.
And just made it look so easy.
Yeah.
It was like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
You know, it's a big song, and she's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, those people annoy me. I was asked to mime when I was in grade 6, carols by candlelight, singing "O Come All You Faithful," and God bless us, old Sister Mercy, who was out the front, combined choirs, St James, Sebastopol Primary, and
Welcome back to Lance TV. You're watching Lance to Boyle and Councillor Des Hudson.
very privileged to be here with the great Lance.
Oh, you're just saying that.
No, I speak it from the heart.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well, we've got that on record, so
Yeah,
if you do
correct.
decide to change your mind.
No. I'll retract that at some stage. No, wouldn't dare do that. We've been friends for a long time.
We have been.
Yeah.
In fact, we've been friends for so long that there's a whole bunch of stuff I don't know about you. Can we start the interview now?
Oh, maybe. Okay, fire away.
All right. Consent. Everyone witness that.
Has been given.
Consent has been given and
Yep.
can be retracted at any time. Councillor Des Hudson, OAM. Oh, man. Where were you born?
Born and bred here in Ballarat. This is hometown for me.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So you're born, what, Ballarat base?
I was born Ballarat base. Guess the year.
1982.
Yes, too kind. 69, the same year that Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. And in fact, I was brought home from hospital as a baby the day that Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, to such a rousing reception from my brothers and sisters that were not even at home. They were up at the neighbours watching the broadcast. Little Des has just come home from hospital, no one to greet me, but hey, the youngest child of 5, therefore I'm the perfect child. Mum and Dad never had any more after me, realise I'm it. Yeah.
and so humble.
Absolutely.
Is your middle name Apollo by any chance?
It should have been. No, in fact, the nickname Dad gave me was Sputnik, which I never really knew for a while until part of like the whole space race and the Russians and Sputnik. But that was my nickname. That was always Sputnik.
Yeah, right. Amazing.
Yeah, gee, that hasn't come out for a long, long time.
There
I thought
you
I'd
go.
buried that for quite a while.
Yeah, so you're not a space cadet. You're a.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I found it very interesting before the show tonight when we were talking about your parents. Tell us what your parents did.
Yeah, they were a great influence on my life, and I'm still really fortunate to have them both in my life. Dad turns 96 in a couple of weeks, still able to live at home.
Gosh.
Is great, still tends his garden, doing things. Unfortunately, earlier this year, my mum, who suffers a bit of dementia, has now had to go into full-time care.
Oh, I'm sorry, Des.
So they'll be married 69 years on Tuesday.
69 seems to be a thing in your
resonating,
world,
isn't it?
right?
and thinking, gee, I hope they're able to hold on and get to 70 years. But even though now the transition is, and I said to Dad a little while ago, it must be quite lonely in the house when all of us are gone. Like, we go and visit regularly, but I think that downtime when he's in the house on his own, that's, a really unusual sound when Mum's not there to have a conversation. But Dad worked for 30 odd years at the local flour mill in Ballarat. There were many generations of the Hudson family that have worked there. My grandfather worked there, 2 of my uncles, my older brother worked there for a period of time.
And you were there
I did
after
as well.
HSC?
Yeah, after HSC, worked there for 18 months before I then headed off into my career with Victoria Police.
Amazing.
Yeah, and Mum was a stay-at-home mum. She took care of the home fires. Great baker, sponges, cream puffs and things that she would make for Sunday night. A reasonable cook, was a great scone maker. But I've now taken over that recipe, and I think I now make scones that are better than what hers were.
Oh, look out. Them's fighting words. Was she with the CWA by any chance?
No, worked with the Mothers Club for the school,
Yeah.
and did other catering bits. But I don't recall she was ever in the CWA. She was in the Red Cross. She volunteered in the canteen at Lakeside, where while that was still in Ballarat, she would.
Yes, because just for people who don't know Lakeside, it was the big psychiatric hospital here prior to the
being Lake
80s when
Gardens.
Jeff Kennett sold it off.
Yeah, and Terry Benjamin bought it and turned it into Lake Gardens and a
Wow.
housing estate. Yeah. Mum was always big into volunteerism, as was Dad on the school council and church finance committee and St Vincent de Paul. So I think part of their ingrained community services kind of what has driven me for quite a while as well.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, like, where was your drive to be of service? And like we know that you're a police officer, but we also know you're on council.
Yeah.
So do you reckon that's where your drive to be of service to others?
I think it actually started, I was the youngest president of my soccer club. Around the time I was beginning to moving towards going into the police force. And there was a crazy moment of time that I was president of my club, I was president of the Ballarat Soccer Association, and I was also a referee, and I was president of the referees, long before anyone ever spoke about conflict of interest. So, and I'm thinking now that, wow, all of those things, that there is no way you could do all of those things transparently, but we've learned so much since then. And thankfully, when I went into the police force, I had to give some of those off to other people. So, but I think that's where it really started. one of the wife of my first soccer coach tapped me on the shoulder and she said, "We need someone to be president of the club and we think you're it." As an 18-and-a-half-year-old to go, "Oh, okay.
If you say so.
We'll try that." Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you wanted to be a teacher at one point.
Yeah, I did. When I was at school, I went to St James Primary School, bottom end of Sebastopol, and then went to Sebastec. It was interesting, I went to Sebastec, that mum and dad were very working class. They put my eldest brother through St Pat's College, and then my fellow siblings, 2 sisters and a brother, they all went through Sebastec. And I had the option being the last and the best and the perfect child.
And the most humble.
Yeah, was offered if I wanted to go to St Pat's, but most of my friends at school were going to Sebastec. So I decided that's where I would go as well. And in most of those senior years, thought I'd love to be a teacher, would love to follow that through. And when we were doing VCE, Sebastec as it was only the second year they ever taught VCE. And we were told at the start that, look, half of you are likely to fail. The bell curve, which meant nothing to me at the time, but across the state, only so many students could pass VCE and some had to fail. So we were told that probably half of you will pass and half of you won't. And the weird bit was all of those people that chose to do maths and science all passed. Those of us that chose to do humanities, we all failed. It was there. So that's kind of weird in a way, isn't it?
That's really odd. I mean, considering like that you would have had both the same level of education.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and just for whatever, like the
different
split of
pathway.
it, could never really understand why that happened. So therefore I had to then pivot, find another way, because I was hoping that I might have gone to Aquinas College and do teaching. But
And you ended up at the flour mill.
Yeah. The very next day after the last exam, the very next day I started at the flour mill full time in the laboratory. I'd worked there a couple of summers previously just testing the wheat with all the wheat trucks coming in from the harvest, where now I was in the lab and testing flour for colour and protein and stretch capacity in different other ways, and working around the clock on the shift.
Using maths that you didn't actually study
Absolutely,
for.
correct.
The irony
And doing it really well. It was
Yeah,
there.
amazing.
Yeah.
We need to go for a short break, but when we come back, we're going to have a little bit more of Councillor Des Hudson OAM, oh a man, right after this. Welcome back, Facebook. Marty Monster, it is wonderful to see Des relaxed. He was always on guard as mayor.
On guard.
On guard, it makes you sound like one of the 3 musketeers.
Yeah, I thought I was always trying to project that I was open. I never wanted to be about spin. Wanted to just be able to talk openly and frankness about whatever an issue was, and trying to be true to that, not wanting to just toe a line or a safe line. So yeah, thanks, Marty.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback.
Yeah.
Leanne Wilson.
Oh yes.
Love your work.
This is my older sister.
Love your work, Sputnik.
Yeah, no worries at all. Yeah, thanks, Spidge.
Ballarat Community Health is sending a wave. Hello, Ballarat Community Health. Ange Ellison's in the thread.
Hi, Ange.
And it says, effing LOL. Oh, a man.
Yep.
And one of our favourites. And there's a big heart and a rainbow emoji.
Awesome. And Ange, we still need to catch up for that coffee that we said we would catch up for. Ange is a great scout.
There you go. You can talk to her down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Ange, my shout for coffee.
In the Bahamas. In Ibiza.
Yeah. Maybe Sebastopol within the municipal boundaries.
Write it off as a business
Yeah,
expense.
that's right, exactly.
That's right. I'm meeting with one of my constituents.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at me.
I've never
pretend.
claimed any of those. I just pay for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a nice thing to do. Occasionally someone will buy one back for me. It's nice.
Well, there you go. So what goes around eventually does come around.
No, that's right. And they get warned off when I say a large, extra hot, hotter than the sun, skinny latte with 1 sugar. In fact, I caught up with the former mayor, Daniel Maloney,
Oh,
through the week.
we love Daniel Maloney.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We were at Craig's and I ordered my coffee hotter than the sun, and the lovely waitress, when she brought it out, she said, "That is the hottest coffee I've ever made." I took about 4 mouthfuls and it was gone. I said, "That wasn't hot."
What, have you got an asbestos mouth or something?
I like it steaming, that you can sit on it, not...
Welcome back, Channel 31. I am Leinster Boyle. You're still watching Lance TV, and we're here with councillor Des Hudson OAM.
I'd never get tired of that.
No,
It's great.
strangely enough, neither do I. I'm going to use it all night, and I hope you playing at home and joining in as well. So yeah, you wanted to be a teacher, but then some things kind of took a bit of a turn, and you ended up applying for the Victorian Police Force.
I did. That when I was doing legal studies in Year 12, there was a senior constable, Gordon Jarvis was his name, and I think he's gone to rest only about 18 months ago. Lovely old fellow, but would come into our legal studies classes, and he was presenting on police rights and everything else, and I thought, oh, that kind of sounds interesting. So anyway, I had in the back of my mind that if I can't be a teacher, maybe I'd join the police force, but I was working full-time at the flour mill. And I've been talking to some of the guys there, and they were all older than me. I was 18 and a half working at the flour mill, so there were guys that were been married and had kids that were on the rotation of shifts. And one guy in particular, Glenn McKenzie, who was one of the millers, so he was in charge of the whole 8 hour of production. He ran the mill, everyone else doing other things, but he would say to me, "You're full of crap." I'm not sure if I can say this
You
on
can,
Lance
you say
TV.
whatever you
I
like.
can say whatever I want. So he'd say, "You're full of shit, that there's no way you're going to join Victoria Police. You're so wet behind the ears. In fact, if you join, they'll take you out the back and they'll punch the shit out of you to try and give you some life skills." So he was needling away at me behind the scenes. And in the end, I thought, you know what? That's it. Line in the sand moment. Went down to the Ballarat Police Station in Camp Street, just across the road from where we are at the moment. The old station that used to be just across the road.
Oh yeah, the Bluestone joint.
No.
Oh, no.
Straight up where the vacant ground is. That was the old police station. And
That
the
house?
building, the house was where D24 is. That was our radio comms.
Oh.
So,
I suddenly remembered Gerard Kennedy then, D24, but anyway.
exactly.
Division 4.
And Matlock Police and
that's
Solo
totally-
1.
Yeah,
Yep.
right, Paul Cronin.
Yeah. So I went down and filled out the application, took it back, had an interview with the senior sergeant, Smokey Dawson was his name, and that was sent off. 1989 was the year, and Victoria Police was doing a huge recruiting drive during that particular 12 months. And within a fortnight, I was down at the police academy one Saturday morning doing the entrance exam. Passed that, then did the psych evaluation, passed that in the afternoon. God knows how I passed that, because people say he's batshit crazy. Went back the next day, did the physical, and one of the drillies came in and said, "We need 8 people who are able to start in a week." Thinking, wow, that's super, super quick. Didn't want to be one of those. I wanted to have a bit of a break, so my mindset was right. So ended up giving notice at work, had 6 weeks off, went and played a bit of golf up in the Mallee with my uncle, who had always been a great mentor and role model, and then started at the police academy on the 14th of August, 1989.
Wow, look at that. That's a moment just etched into your mind.
It
When
is.
you joined the police force, what sort of policing did you think you were going to get yourself in for?
Yeah, well, I think you most often think about what traditional people see, driving around in the div vans, what you see on TV, going to the latest and catching crooks and everything else. And I'd have to say I was probably not very good at that. Probably I was more compassionate than a hard-nosed crime fighter that wants to get to the bottom of everything and always has a good nose for investigations and stuff. Not that I wasn't, but that probably wasn't me. But I found myself in a weird moment in time.
We've all been in... Oh, no, you mean something different, sorry.
But you wonder sometimes when the planets align. One random night in the watch house, Senior Sergeant Bob Dockett, who walked through and said, "I need 2 members to be able to go off to do this 2-week training, the Police in Schools program. Knew nothing about what that was. Well, I did actually. I'd done 3 months of temporary duties at Melbourne Airport Police when I was working at Moonee Ponds Police Station. And there was a guy there that I worked with that spoke about he used to work in the schools, in the police schools program. I thought, that's a bit weird, that's not catching crooks or anything else. So anyway, I found that I was the selected person and went down and did the 2-week course, and it was a fabulous course. It was full of laughs. If you can imagine grown police that are playing Duck, Duck, Goose and different other games, and on the hallowed parade ground that you always have to stop and almost stand at attention when you're at the edge of the parade ground. But we were doing all of those fun kid stuff. And then I found myself in the role of the Police in Schools program here in Ballarat, which I absolutely loved. Did that for 9 years until Victoria Police made a change to Police in Schools program, and I still think that was a wrong move. I think some of our youth issues now is because police aren't as invested in schools and talking to young people that we did back in those years, and turned us into youth resource officers, where we're a bit more broad, looking at youth offending rates and diversion pathways, which is still important, but I think forming relationships with young people is really critical.
Right, but with the early part of that though, that kind of spoke to your, I wanted to be a teacher and now I'm kind of in this sort of in front of the kids and interacting.
Yeah, without having to do all the report writing or the after hours meetings. So come in, come out. In any 12-month period, I would work with 13, 14, 15 primary schools, work out a fortnightly roster, go and deliver 35, 40 sessions in front of grade 5, 6 classes on a whole range of different topics, from the role of police to our legal system, to consequences of actions, drugs and alcohol, how to keep themselves safe. And it would generally be about 18 different sessions throughout the course of the 12 months. And doing that led me to a pathway with Blue Light as well, that Victoria Police and
right,
Blue Light are
you're quite big on the blue light circuit. You've got a whole setup. I remember you saying to me, was it last year or the year before, that you've got this set up, it's all kind of, the lights are there, the smoke machine, the whole shebang?
Yeah, and when I found myself in the whole blue light space, and a former inspector, Vic Dunn, who I just bumped into yesterday, I was out with my daughter Emily, and she was driving me, my car was in for a service, and pulled alongside, and as I'm about to get into the car, this voice said, "Hello, Des Hudson." And I looked down and said, "Oh, hello, Vic Dunn," who was my former inspector, lovely guy. And Vic was big into blue light. Vic got it in terms of youth involvement and proactive policing. He was not only a branch champion, but also state council and one of the life members, very visionary for Blue Light. So he kept saying to me, "Why aren't you coming along?" Plenty of the kids that come along are always asking, "Where's Senior Des? Where's Senior Des?" from the schools. So in the end, I thought, oh, well, I may as well go and volunteer at Blue Light. And at the time, thought, here's Vic running the show, his wife Maureen, who was just a gorgeous person, who was in the canteen, and if we were short on some staff, Vic had put the shout out and some of his sons had come along. So it was the Vic Dunn family show. And I thought, oh, that's a bit sad that everyone's there. Well, if you ask my family now, I'm a life member of Ballarat Blue Light, and I still am the chairperson and coordinate and facilitate our monthly Blue Light Disco. My wife Anne is the canteen manager. My youngest daughter Molly, she's now the DJ. She took over from Em, who was the DJ, and Em still comes along, and her boyfriend has been co-opted. So they take all the social media photos for me. And then I've also co-opted a couple of neighbours to come on as well. So being attached to our family, you get roped into being part of the Blue Light family and fraternity. But it's great when, like our last disco, we had 230 kids there, Halloween theme, normally primary school kids, but I had a great number of year 7s, year 8s and some year 9s, because it's a safe place to come and hang out and just somewhere to be and enjoy each other's company. So they did really well. Yeah.
And that work that you've done with youth over the years was recognised with in 2019 with your getting an Order of Australia medal.
Yeah,
Talk to us about
that was a really lovely gesture, knowing that the community had nominated me and put myself forward, and to be able to receive that. And you look at some people around the country that do amazing things to be considered in that same light and worthy, it was really, really humble. But it was something I kept from the family as well, because the process that you go through and have to acknowledge that, yes, you've been nominated and you accept the nomination, and then you go through the process, and then was told on Australia Day 2019, you'll be made public. Please don't tell anyone until it's in the newspapers. I didn't even tell Anne. that morning, woke up in the morning and the phone is going, and she said, "What's the phone going for?" I said, "Oh, people are ringing with the congratulations. I've been awarded an Order of Australia medal." And she goes, "Thanks for telling me."
Yeah, right.
I said, "I was told not to tell anyone."
That totally end.
Absolutely. So yeah, don't tell anyone. It was there. So yeah, but it was lovely. So
it was embargoed. It was more than embargoed. It was locked right
told
down.
no one. Yeah. Yep. If you tell me not tell anyone, I don't tell anyone.
Yeah, right. What star sign are you?
Cancer.
Oh.
Does that fit a bit of the puzzle?
Yeah, well, in my head it does.
Yeah, okay.
And for those of you playing at home who are into astrology, you'll understand too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's that kind of policing journey, and I guess being involved with community in our proactive policing unit. And we do lots of different things. I was fortunate when we transitioned from police in schools to the youth resource officer, the generosity of our local community, when I was able to create our Ballarat mobile youth space called The Bus, that we decked out. Don McKenzie, who was the then owner of Gold Bus, took one of his coaches offline from Bacchus Marsh Coaches.
Wow, that's really generous.
It was, yeah, and then used local firm Bramarco, and we decked it out with PlayStations at the back, and then laptops and music deck, and had a puzzle area and just little kitchenette, and we were able to take it to different events. I was one of the main attractions at the Ballarat show for many years because it was free to come on and different things. So yeah, take it out into local neighbourhoods and school fetes, and it was a really great tool to engage with the community. Unfortunately, during COVID and Gold Bus sold to Christians, so it was sitting in the rear yard. Gold Bus always looked after it, maintained it, kept it roadworthy, kept it registered, and in that transition, it fell out of registration. And it also wouldn't have been able to meet the roadworthy test going back on. So unfortunately, the asset is now gone, but yeah, it was a really great asset that
How
we
long
had
did that go for?
Oh, about 13, 14 years.
Wow.
It was there. Yeah, and it was just fantastic. My driving wasn't necessarily that great. I think I'd crashed on or 3 corners out of 4 every time. One of my volunteers, Bob Amos, who was our business manager at police headquarters for a long time, he was one of my longest serving volunteers, and would just laugh. You'd see a couple more scrapes where we'd got too close to a sign or here or there, and I do have the right licence for it, but yeah, it's just so different from driving a normal car to a 56 seat bus.
A long wheelbase.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You're hilarious, really, aren't you?
Well, my driving was hilarious at times. People driving behind. We took it to Horsham. They were keen to model a similar resource. So Bob and we took it to Horsham, and at times going through some of the areas around Ballarat, and there's some really hilly areas, and I looked in the rear view mirror and I said to Bob, it's like a funeral cortege. I reckon we've got 18 cars sitting behind that couldn't pass, and the bus would never do 100, would only ever be doing 75 or 80. So.
And that was going downhill.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. There were times I'm sure there was a hitchhiker that went past us. It was there. But it was a really great tool, and the generosity again of local businesses and the community that was able to fund the creation of that was really great to see that happen and for it to come to life.
Amazing. We need to go for another short break. Thank you so much for that, Des. When we come back, we're going to learn more about the councillor Des Hudson. Oh man! Right after this.
People are putting in?
Emily Hudson. Woohoo! Good job, Dad.
See, Toddy's at home watching.
Go Em. And Em was a waka waka waka, the DJ.
Yeah, she was.
Or is.
Yeah.
I've lost everything now. I've scooped off and scooped back on again. Hang on. We'll have to read. There we go. Yeah, so yes, if you're watching, please feel free, drop it in the thread. I will read it out in the world of Facebook, and get your message over. There you go.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, you in a bus.
I know. and took it to Moyne Shire as well, all the way down
Where's
to
that?
Portland.
Oh,
Portland.
over in
down to
Gunditjmara
Warrnambool.
country. Yeah, right.
Yeah, down to Warrnambool and Portland. They were also keen to look at it, so we took it down there to one of their festivals down there. It was a great weekend. But you never get used to driving this thing with like a hula hoop.
Yeah,
Driving
right.
that bus driver bit.
Should have just got one of those knobby things on it. Just
I know.
wheel it around.
Yeah, and then leaning forward and then suddenly trying to do the tight turn and you're wrenching on the steering wheel.
Yeah. No power steering or power steering?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
So a total upper body
Yeah,
workout.
and not automatic. It's got gears. And at times crunching the gears because the box is not... Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Good tradesman never blames his tools.
No, that's right. It was the bus.
But then, with those tools that you had at hand, like so you were working at police in schools and the bus and whatnot, did you find that it really helped young people to get over that whole, ACAB sort of all coppers are...
Yeah, and that was the main point of it. What you want is for young people that are vulnerable to see that police are there as an ally. When times are tough, to be able to reach out and know that they should be able to get a level of service, a degree of help for any situation. Now, at times, police, we're not good at that. We don't understand that all of the work you can do in the proactive space can be absolutely blown away with one bad interaction that's there that suddenly throws that trust out the door. And that takes an enormous amount of time to be able to build up again. So building up that trust, familiarity with young people, and often...
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome back. You're watching Let's TV. I'm Lance Boyle, and I'm here with a man, councillor Des Hudson. I would like to now move our pivot. Okay, well, we can. It was the word of the early 2020s. Everyone was pivoting.
It was, weren't they? Everyone was pivoting.
Welcome to COVID, and let's pivot. Yeah, with 2002 came around, and you thought, all right, I'm doing all this stuff with youth, and I'm being a police officer, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I've got a little bit of room on my plate. I know what I'll do. I'm going to sign up and become a councillor at the City of Ballarat.
Yeah.
What possessed that thought?
Yeah, well, let's give that a run.
Let's find
Well, it was
out.
actually off the back of Karen Overington, who was the Sebastopol councillor with the City of Ballarat, had successfully been elected to state parliament. So she, or her position on the City of Ballarat became vacant. And there was a by-election for her seat. And I was flicking through the paper one Saturday morning and saw the public notice that by-election would be held for the Sebastopol Ward. And that's my bread and butter. I grew up in Sebast. That's my tribal land, played soccer there, played cricket there as well. And I thought, why not have a go at that? Knew nothing about elections, had never ever thought of standing for local government before. But I looked at that and thought, oh, well, I can do that. I wrote a nice script that I thought would be a nice letter to people, showed that to someone who'd been in local government before, said, no, that's crap, they don't want to know about that. That doesn't need to be in there. You just got to talk about the 6 feet out the front of their fence, because it's about roads, rates and rubbish. So come up with a whole new letter. Didn't sound like me at all, but that's what you do. So I'll put that out. That was the by-election. I was one of 5 candidates and I lost. I polled the most primary votes, but I lost. And that left the desire in my mouth saying, I'll get it next time and I'll work harder.
The bug had bitten.
It had. So in 2002, I was successfully elected as the Sebast Council with a nice healthy margin, and fortunately now I've been re-elected 7 times. So
wow.
Really happy and proud to serve. I always still consider it a privilege that I'm the one that puts my hand in the air, that votes on things for or against, but it generally affects 100 to 120,000 people, that I have to think about what's in their best interest, not my own interest, but what's in their best interest at times when I look at decision making.
And that is the trick, I think. Like we can look at councils, and from my point of view, not only has our council gone quite right-wing, but many councils across Victoria. And I just wonder how many people in their head are they serving? I mean, for Ballarat, that'll be the proof in the pudding over the next 4 years, we'll see that. But I find it amazing that, yeah, like as a councillor, you're thinking about what is beneficial to 120,000 people.
And I found that especially in the role as mayor as well. I think sometimes when you're the mayor, you have to put your own view to the side and again, think about what's the best interest, what's the organisational best interest that you've got to do. And sometimes that is about being able to lead and challenge and vote for things that you know are not necessarily going to be popular in the community, because the community has a view of some limited information. As a councillor, you are privy to a whole lot more information that you can then prosecute and interrogate that will ultimately lead you to your decision making at the time. And you've got to think about what's the next 20, 25, 30 years look like for our community, not just the here and now. And I think that is the challenge for some councillors over time, that have been more about the here and now than about what's the legacy of 20, 25, 30 years time when you're looking at what will Ballarat look like. You may not be sitting at the table, but your decision today will absolutely affect what it looks like 25, 30 years from now.
Well, it's that thing too. I remember somebody saying to me once, like, you know, life is like being on a yacht, and if you're 1 degree off your direction, by the time you get to where you think you're going, you're actually off by miles.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's always, for me, that bit is not what my own view is, but what I'm able to listen to from the community, and not just the popular area of the community as well. That sometimes they're the easy decisions to make, but it is about being able to drill down and look at, okay, what is the better outcome for all of this as well. So that's what I kind of try and challenge myself with in my decision-making processes.
Amazing. And, you know, being part of council, you've sat on very, very many committees, but you also are the chairperson of a committee that is outside of council, and that is the Ballarat and District Suicidal Network. Talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, so in 2011, the federal government had funded Wesley Mission for the creation of suicide awareness networks right around Australia, where communities were found to have a higher completed suicide rate than what the national average was. And Ballarat was identified by Wesley and called a public meeting in 2011 to see if there was a desire to have a suicide awareness network. It was actually called Suicide Prevention Network that was formed. And the overwhelming majority was yes, that we should do that. I went along in my police role. Police obviously attend the scene of every completed suicide. It's a reportable death to the coroner. And I was with the sergeant from Buninyong Police Station, Sergeant Pete Anderson. And when they called for nominations for a person to be chair, and he said, you should do it. So he said it fits perfectly with our Victoria Police themes and responsibilities. So I was happy to self-nominate and was endorsed by the group, and I've been chair ever since. And some of the things that we do, but we did change our name. We consciously changed our name from the Suicide Prevention Network to the Suicide Awareness Network, because we're not a crisis intervention service. We're more about advocacy and awareness. And what we found a couple of times, and especially for our secretary, Lindy Packer, who does an amazing job, but people would ring when they were in crisis or had a family member in crisis. And I used to say to Lindy, I don't want you to answer the phone. There is a message there for people to ring Lifeline or to ring 000. That's not the space. We're not crisis intervention. That's not our role. So found that we needed to change our name so as that people who were in crisis weren't then ringing us thinking we were the go-to entity. But yeah, we've been operational for now 13 years.
Wow.
About to enter our 14th year. We hold the annual Out of the Shadows walk that we do every year, and we know that meets a great need in our community.
You're amazing. Thank you so much, Des. And thank you for the work that you do on top of everything else. And from us to you, for being on the show, here is a little tiny pride bag That's for you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank Ange for that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you get this photo of me that says, I was on Let's TV. And you know what? That fits perfectly in the bag.
Beautiful. And you know what? I have many a different certificate and different award that I've got in my garage because I used to play shed table tennis on a Thursday night. And I will put this pride of place in amongst some of the certificates and things that's there, because what a privilege it is to be on Lance TV with the one and only Lance de Boyle.
Oh, you darling. Oh, man. We will be back. We need to go for a short break. And when we come back, we'll have some more. Oh, Des. And we hope you enjoyed our interview with Councillor Des Hudson OAM. You can catch up with Des via the City of Ballarat website, www.ballarat.vic.gov.au. Lance TV will be back right after this.
Time goes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, people say that often.
Yeah, you just get in the groove, and we could be here till Tuesday.
Well, back in the early days of the show, because it was just on Facebook, we would go for hours.
Yeah.
Because we could.
Yeah, because people are still there, so you want to...
We were mortified when Channel 31 said, yeah, come and be on, but you've only got an hour. It's like, an hour? How are we going to do that? Marty Monster, Des and I share the same 1969, but 2 months apart.
Marty, younger or older?
Oh, Marty.
Get back to us.
That's right. Amazing. And thank you for, the thing around suicide too is that I don't think our culture deals with death very well, and there's a real taboo about talking about it, particularly particularly for men who are kind of like, no, I have to suck it up and keep going, and it's it's like you don't talk about it.
No, and it's the biggest killer of males, and it's more than the road toll of every state put together. I think 2023, 3,220-ish lives were lost to suicide, and every one of those people has a family around them that will no longer have that person at Christmas, at weddings, or at significant events. And there's often the question that's left of why? What did I miss? And I think being able to work with our local community and being able to give them some signs and the confidence to have a conversation about asking the D word that we find really unpalatable, but saying to someone, are you thinking of dying? Are you thinking of killing yourself?
Yeah, have you got a plan?
Yeah, exactly. And to go through those steps, and I think is really powerful education, and it's a skill for life.
Do you do things in community like assist training for people in communities or mental health first aid or anything along those lines?
Yeah, that's what we find as the network, that what we wanted to be able to deliver has been community education. So we contract Lifeline to deliver Safe Talk workshops for us that we put on free of charge. And then if there's people that want another level, that they might then have the ability to use that rather than just doing the training.
Welcome back to Lance TV, and it's time for All Over the Shop. On Sunday is Mayhem, Songs of the Torres Strait Islands. It's the Ballarat show at the Good Shed, and that starts at 2:30, goes through to about 4:15. Monday, No Lights, No Lycra at the Victorian Railways Institute. That starts at about 8 o'clock, and that's on the 2nd. Soldiers Hill, Ballarat. Kransky Sisters present a Cracker Kransky Christmas down there in Colac. That's the 4th. That starts at 8:30. The 6th of December, Diamond Creek Twilight Market, part of the Lions Club, and there are lots of wonderful markets happening regionally and on the outskirts. 7th of December at 7 o'clock is the Melbourne Rainbow Band presents Carols by Queer Light 2024 at St Kilda Town Hall. The 11th of December is a coffee catch-up with Geelong Rainbow. It's a fortnightly event down there at Geelong West. Starts at 9:30. 15th of December, Motor City Sounds Christmas show at Piano Bar Ballarat. We love the Motor City Sounds. They are good friends of Lance TV. The 20th of December is the Summer Drag Bingo Christmas Extravaganza at the Royal in Echuca. Hello to everybody watching us along the Murray. 21st of December is the Christmas Spectacular Market 2024 at Ballarat City Oval. There will be free kids activities and fun. 31st of December, Daylesford New Year's Eve Parade and Gala, and that's happening on Vincent Street, Daylesford. Tuesday the 31st starting at 6. 15th of January 2025, rockumentary film series Medieval to Metal. This is Spinal Tap, made in 1984, and that's happening at Ballarat Art Gallery. The 19th of January, Midsummer Carnival 2025 at the Alexandra Gardens. That starts at 11 o'clock on the 19th. And last but not least, Festival of the Photocopier. It's the Zine Fair 2025 happening at Kensington Town Hall, and that starts at noon on the 8th of February. Back to the studio. And here we are. Des and I were having a bit of a chat during the all over the shop moment, and as an extension of the Ballarat District Suicide Network, you're also involved with a group called Live for Life program. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is a project I'm really proud of, that we had a period of 4.5 years where we lost 6 school-aged lives in Ballarat in tragic circumstances to suicide. And I remember having a conversation with the principal at Phoenix College, Karen Snibson, and principal at Ballarat High, Gary Palmer, about what we could potentially do. And done a little bit of research and came across, it was actually my colleague that put it on my desk, about Live for Life. And I did a little bit of research and found that it began over in Macedon Ranges, and it was in relation to, again, a youth suicide. And it is about suicide prevention in small rural and country communities. So when I stumbled across Live for Life and reached out to our school principals and then to Live for Life, had a look at the model, and then took steps towards being able to implement the Live for Life model in Ballarat, which means we are teaching all Year 8 and all Year 10 students with teen and adolescent mental health training, 3 sessions over 3 non-consecutive days, about recognising some of the signs of mental health in a mate, telling them it's not about you being a counsellor, it's just about being able to ask a question and get them to be able to reach out to a trusted adult where they can get some expert help, or then from there a referral on to where there's more expert help. In Year 10, we get them to unpack being able to ask that really difficult conversation of someone that they've got that gut instinct who they think might be suicidal, to be comfortable in the space to be able to ask, are you thinking of dying? Are you thinking of killing yourself? And then to know what comes next. And I think that's a really powerful tool. And when I stand in front of the classes that I facilitate as one of the trainers, I normally preempt it by saying, this is a skill for life. At the moment, it's about looking after your mates, but this could be a conversation you could have with another family member, a work colleague in the future, a loved one in the future. Because the vulnerabilities of life, we all deal with mental health. We're never always in the happy zone. Life's twists and turns, and we're up and down and we're roundabout and things. We don't know what the road ahead is. But being able to know to have a simple conversation with someone is really important. And we implemented the program last year when we were first in front of classes. We did a lot of back-end work over the 18 months prior. But so far we've trained 3,800 of our young people across Ballarat who are moving through life journey, and next year we'll have every one of our schools on board teaching at Year 8 and Year 10, which is fantastic.
That's impeccable. That is just such important work. Well done, Des. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that one, and great to have been a part of, and great that I get to facilitate the program as well.
Amazing. Talking about programs, this is the show before the very last show next week. On the 6th of December, Lance TV is coming to a finale end permanently. We will have a live studio audience. We will be going down memory lane. We've got a range of people who have done pre-records because they couldn't be here. And we will be having a special extended show which will go from 9 p.m. through to 10:30 p.m. And it'll all be about me.
And the budget will extend. Like I noticed I've had water, because you drank the last carbonated mineral water or sparkling
It
before
was
I got
sparkling. It was a cheeky sparkling mineral water.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, I could blow bubbles in that.
Well, I said I'd get it in before we finished it. You drank the last sparkling one. Due to the budget, I just had to have still.
You just blow bubbles in it, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
So we look forward to seeing you for the last ever Lance TV broadcast on anywhere next week. Until then, please, whatever you do, remember, be kind.
Thanks for watching Lance TV. We'll be back same time next week. Lance TV is made possible through funding from the Community Broadcasting Foundation. I'm voiceover guy Randall Smith. See you next time.